When I left care, something I didn't expect was everything that you have to sort being an adult. I was ringing like the electric companies and stuff, and they were like, what do you think of this tariff? And I'm like, what's a tariff? Like, what is this? No idea how to manage money. We were like, oh yeah, food shop, that's only going to cost like £40. It was not £40. What the people who are not care experienced don't realise is all of the things that they learn at home.
Loads of audiences that I've spoken to, I've often started by saying, by show of hands, who's benefited from an employment opportunity through a family member or a friend? And every single time, at least half of the room raise their hands.
I mean, I've gone into lots of different workplaces straight away and been very confident, and then gotten to a point where it's like, I can't do this. I didn't really have good support around me.
As a manager in the leaving care team, what I've seen time and time again when young people have gone out and secured apprenticeships or work placements is failure. It's not their fault that they've had this really tricky start, but it is our fault if we don't support them to make positive next steps. We need to collectively support this group of young people. They need us. You
go straight into work with no help, or you stay on UC and there's no gap in between.
A third of all care leavers nationally are unemployed. So unfortunately in Suffolk, that figure is roughly 40%.
I think the simplest answer to that is to focus on bridging the gap. Because we've got the young people leaving the care system, you're finished, you're done. You've got the employers that are ready and they've got a need, but actually no one's taken the time to focus on, well, what's the journey like in the middle? And it doesn't have to be a long journey. And if you don't focus on that middle part, the cement between the bricks, it's never going to join together.
My name is Nicola Beach and I'm very proud to be the Chief Executive of Suffolk County Council. So the family business model is really important and something I'm proud to be sponsor of. Whilst we have done a lot of work within the County Council to give care leavers opportunities for training and employment, we needed that extra push. Those young people deserve every opportunity that we can possibly give them. And of course one of the key aspects is education, training and employment.
So the family business is a project initiated by Suffolk County Council, which is about supporting care leavers into employment. They do it in 3 ways. First, the council provide apprenticeships for young people. Second, they find local opportunities in the community. And then the third thing is to give them a skills programme called the Skills Academy.
What sorts of things would stop you guys from asking the question? It might be the first thing that you've ever done.
So the story of how the family business came around, in HR, Meg came across something called corporate parenting principles.
I was leading on apprenticeships and I was kind of looking for some statistics. I went down a rabbit hole looking at different documents and it led me to a corporate parenting document.
When a young person comes into care, they become looked after, and they're looked after by the local authority. So we use the terminology corporate parenting.
Basically, it was saying that corporate parenting is the responsibility of every local government officer and every councillor, and that just really struck me.
There are over 5,000 people employed in this building. If we all thought of care leavers as our children, then we should be able to move them on positively.
So at the same time, unknown to Meg, was Chris. Chris also wanted to offer opportunities to care leavers.
So my ambition is to turn corporate parenting into community parenting.
So now you've got someone in social care and someone in HR working together, which is exactly what you need for a project like this.
We started talking about could we ring-fence corporate funding to create some apprenticeships for care leavers.
The initial pilot that we ran wasn't called the family business, just ran a pilot apprenticeship scheme for care experienced young people. They all passed.
And as a result, it meant that we'd increased the funding. We had a host of willing and able managers come forward to offer spaces in their teams. We couldn't find young people that wanted them.
Potentially there was a little bit of round peg, square hole, trying to, we've got this, can we get this young person there?
We ended up with 1 apprentice remaining of 5.
They loved the idea of working in an office and this corporate environment, but the reality of that was quite hard for them. And we'd had some really big challenges in there. Clearly it was a great idea, but it's not going to work.
was this the end of that project?
And our head of education said to me, don't give up.
So around this time, I was moving from the Leaving Care Service into the virtual school. I didn't want it to be a distant memory.
So one of the services available for a child in care is the virtual school. I'm not that popular at weddings when people ask me what I do. So I can either say I'm a head teacher or try and explain the difficulties of what a virtual school head is. It is nothing to do with online tutoring, but it is a real school role. And every child in care is on that school role. It's my job as a virtual school head to ensure that they have the protective factor as if they attended one school with one head teacher and one team overseeing their educational progress. And Chris joined our team from the Leaving Care team, and Chris brought with him this idea of the family business, providing our young people with the kind of support and the kind of network that we would provide for our own young people, our own children. And I was really captured by that.
I was very fortunate. Matthew felt passionately that this should keep going and that we could do something about restructuring, rescaffolding the whole thing.
It's too big to fail. This cannot fail. We will need to find a way. He brought with him so many connections, the Leaving Care managers, the frontline workers. It needed the support. It needed a bit of a stronger identity, creating a situation where it could become systemic, it could become really operationalised, and it could be something that we would be able to sustain in perpetuity.
That started linking with Luke. Luke and the care leaders brought a means of scaffolding the entire project.
So how do you actually communicate the family business? What exactly is it? And who do you then need to get involved to support you with that vision?
From the inception of identifying a strong brand.
As a child in care, your local authority logo might not be the best logo that you want to see, because that might have been the logo that's taken you from your parents and caused trauma. We needed the family business brand, which was completely separate to the local authority's brand. We had to create consistency with the local authority brand, so we couldn't sway too far away. So we kept the local authority's main colour, but we changed everything else.
How we work with managers, how we work with employers to identify roles.
And so if you've been a care leaver and the local authority has been your parent, you now go and work in that local authority, it becomes your boss. So it becomes a really tricky dynamic for a manager.
Towing that line of what is being a manager and what is being sort of a pastoral support worker. One person can't do all of that. So now we have a dedicated family business coordinator.
Yeah. Snake off down the So technically I'm the auntie. I'm the supportive auntie.
She is one of the key components. You need Celia.
I think she's amazing, but she's got the energy of everything.
Protect yourselves. Explain my time. You'll tend to find that when a young person has an issue or a problem, they'll go find that trusted adult that they can go and have that conversation with. They know that they're going to get unbiased advice or information or guidance from that person. The idea is getting to know those young people and letting them get to know me. So that they have a level of, at very least, if I ask Celia, she'll find out for me.
It's people like the virtual school head that sign off and support these programmes, but then it's people like Chris and Celia, the family business coordinators, who make it happen on the ground. We realised there was another problem, is that lots of care leavers didn't actually have the skills in the workplace.
And I don't like generalising, because with any group of people, everybody's different and they all have different experiences, but there have been some kind of common things that have come up. And if you are a young person who has never routinely attended school, moved homes a lot, to suddenly be expected to turn up 9 till 5 days a week is a huge transition.
And how difficult it is to go from a situation of maybe being very stagnant and not being able to do anything.
And we've been hit with so many different things all at once, and we don't like change. So if someone basically is saying, oh, come in once a day, yeah, and then out of nowhere, they're like 5 days, we'd think in our head like, whoa, that's so much.
Because what we also didn't want to do was set people up to fail, put them into apprenticeships if they weren't ready for that, if that wasn't the right step for them at that point. my idea was to have some kind of pre-employment preparation.
But we didn't have the knowledge or capacity within the local authority itself. We started to work with an organisation called Lofty Heights, and we created the Family Business Skills Academy.
And what we brought to the family business as a concept was actually a transitional program. So they'd actually come in for 2 days a week, then 3 days a week, 4 days a week. And what that's doing is getting them used to the 5-day week structure that an employer's going to need. Actually was a collaboration made in heaven. And it's been so successful since then.
It's an 8-week programme for our care leavers. They are given all of the tools that they need to apply for jobs, for education. It's not necessarily into an apprenticeship. You know, there's lots of ways that the young people can go.
And I'm a big advocate for that. You know, local authorities are great at keeping children safe, but there are incredible social enterprises, just like Lofty Heights, across the country that specialise in really meaningfully supporting young people to get the skills to work.
He's done a bit of bricklaying, a bit of carpentry.
We're fitting the kitchen. We're finishing that off tomorrow as well.
Throughout their journey with us, the whole idea is to provide them with a positive learning experience. You know, let me show you how to get through an interview. Let's talk about top tips with them. And we're on that journey with them.
They're just different. They can speak to you, they treat you like an actual friend. They make sure you're okay. They even have conversations if you feel low and stuff like that.
So each year we run 4 skills academies, basically skills-based programmes to get young people ready for work, which is where we are right now.
And we are on week 4 of family business. It's been really beneficial.
On the first day here, I didn't come because my confidence was just not there. Like, I'd got on the bus here and everything. This is quite a funny story. I'd got into the front door and I got too scared to ring it, so I walked off and got the bus home. But since I've been here, I've loved it.
As we were all sort of meeting and mingling, you could sort of see the friendship groups form.
Because once they get here and this feels a safe space, they then don't want to leave. They can still remain very much in their own silo, but without realising it, they've got someone next to them and someone next to them. And within the week, they start communicating with each other.
I think the best week has probably been week 2. We went off to Fort Woodlands, really got to know everybody on the team.
It gave us that bonding experience because we were stuck in the middle of a forest. We did archery, we did go on this massive bike ride around the forest. Oh, it was so much fun.
And a lot of team building exercises. I wasn't brave enough to go up on all the like tree swinging stuff.
I was the first person to do every single activity. I was like the test dummy. You literally just jump off and then you're just like swinging. I want to work here, I want to get a job here. It's great, because I'm a bit of a daredevil, but I don't see no danger. I just love it, I just yeet myself with things, it's great. I do come across quite confident, but I'm actually not. I don't know, it's just an easy group, everyone gets on. Building up my confidence, learning new things. I mean, I don't shut up really. Whereas before, I was like this quiet little mouse. I'd sit in a corner. We have kind of like joined into like a little family, yeah.
It gets you thinking in a more comfortable environment. I mean, there's so many good things that I could say about the course, because originally like, I was struggling with my mental health. I felt that I didn't need to have the mental health help when I was here, because it felt like I was already part of a support network, like I already had the support from people.
So we've really kind of started to open up opportunities. We've tried to build in work experience.
Taster sessions, taster days.
Community projects, just so
yeah.
they're out there doing something within their local community and stretching that network. You know, we'll bring employers in, we bring wellbeing services in, we'll bring drug and alcohol support in. If we need to, we reach out and build that team of network around those young people.
It's that bridge between the opportunity and the young person to upskill the young people, but to equally bring the employers to them.
We actually hold an employee event here as part of the end of the course, and the council are fantastic in bringing lots of employers to us. We'll have the fire service, we'll have Ipswich Borough Council, we'll have a whole range of employers offering apprenticeships, all that are bought into supporting the care leaver. So already you've now got the employers starting to think differently, and that's really important. And then actually coming in here, are all coming in suited and booted, they're coming in with their CVs, they're coming in with their pictures. Why wouldn't you employ me? And the enthusiasm you see in that room is fantastic. And employers come away they're blown away. It's nothing what they expected as well. It kind of opens the door. It doesn't give them the job, they've still got to do the work, that's the important part, but it's creating an opportunity for them to go in and sell themselves.
It is so nice when they do finally get that job and then they ring you and they're like, they offered me the job. We are more excited than they are. We're like, yes!
It's fantastic. It is.
The odds are, if a young person comes to us asking for a very specific thing, one of the foundations of the family business is to bring that network to our young people.
That's what we want to create, more and more opportunities. The young person interested in this, we could pick this, this or this.
For me, it's got to be a brickie.
Be an electrician.
Well, I want to be a farmer.
I want to be a support worker. Something like HR or sales.
So now we've got a job goal, we can start working with them on that and start exploring what that looks like and what's the next steps and what's the next stages.
We are learning just how many opportunities there are in Suffolk and our partners that we just didn't realise we had. Areas in wildlife, recycling, buildings, maintenance. It's our wider partners that have more opportunities, particularly in a rural community like Suffolk, that are really exciting and perfectly matched for a very large number of our young people.
Like, if we go back to when we first met, I came to you and I was like, help me. Whereas now, I know how to get there. And I'm now a working adult. And I'm not that kid anymore that was just going, help me.
It made me so much more confident. And it just gave me confidence in my own decisions.
Also, it's really fun here. It's actually really friendly.
If you came back to me like a year ago, and told me to speak in this thing, and I'll just ignore you. But now it's because I've taught myself not be anxiety all the time, trust people a little bit more, and now I'm here.
What the family business creates is a space between the employer, the young person, and then we've got us, the leaving care service. And the family business is linking us all together. It's really needed.
They're not just attaching themselves to people who can leave and can be transient, they're attaching themselves to a service that they trust as well. My overview is that the family business will become more of a brand that you can trust. It almost doesn't matter who the people are going through it, they trust the service and they trust what they're the product.
My greatest hope is that this model, which is based on collaboration, it's failed before because people have tried to do it siloed and you can't. The strength is in the collaboration that we've worked together and we've proven that. My hope is that this model is now seen as a success and is replicated across the country with many other councils that also link into local VCSE training providers that can add so much value to care leavers. That it's just so important to build that network and ensure that that platform's right. But I think the most key is keep it simple.
I think it's worth recognising that the volume of hard work that's gone into making this vision so clear, making it really easy for people to actually sign up and understand it. That's what's made it feel easy. It's just not confusing. It's intuitive and it's quite simple.
We still feel like this is just getting started. We know other local authorities would love to be in the position that we're in.
But the really important thing is that we also lead by example, and the County Council has ring-fenced money to do this, and already we've seen care leavers being employed in our HR teams, in our fire service, so some really good opportunities presenting. But if I'm going to ask other businesses, community leaders to work with me on this, then of course I need to lead by example and ask my organisation to as well. That's exactly what we've done. And so please don't ever give up on this, because we've learned from that, we've put this in place, and I would highly recommend the family business model for anyone wanting to support care leavers.
We've got a moral duty to do more for these young people. Everyone deserves a family.